In this video, we'll be going over the IRS notice CP10T. This is an IRS notice that you might receive in the case that the IRS makes a change to your tax return and you still are expected to receive a tax refund. So we'll take a look at this and kind of walk through and analyze what this form tells us. Let's go ahead and start with the upper right hand corner. So in the upper right hand corner, you see the notice CP10T for the tax year 2018, and the notice date is February 9th, 2019. So I always recommend that taxpayers pay particular attention to the notice date, primarily because if the IRS has any action items or anything that you're supposed to do, a lot of times they'll pin the due date in terms of number of days after the notice date. For example, you might see something that says, please take action within 10 days of the notice date. Please call the IRS within 60 days of the notice date, so on and so forth. So pay particular attention to the notice date so that you know how much time you have to deal with any action items that you might be expected to undertake. So in the upper right hand corner, you also have the social security number, a contact phone number, and then some additional information. If you're requested, sometimes the representative might ask you for a caller ID, and it's right there. So the other thing I'll point your attention to is the address field on the left-hand side. You'll want to make sure that you keep your address up to date with the IRS, and it's fairly simple to do. You can, every year that you file your tax return, if you simply file your tax return with your new address, that will usually update your tax record. So the IRS should make that change to your tax record so that you don't have to do anything other than that. However, if you move or change addresses shortly after filing your tax return, you may want to either call the IRS and notify them of your change of address, or file IRS Form 8822, which is the official IRS change of address form. For businesses, that would be IRS Form 8822-B. So we'll put links to the resources in the show notes about those two tax forms. Now let's take a closer look at this notice. So from the IRS notification, it says, we believe there's a miscalculation on your 2018 Form 1040, which impacts itemized deductions. Itemized deductions being on Schedule A. So the IRS goes on to say that we've made changes to your return, but however, we could not apply any of your overpayment as you requested because we already processed your 2019 tax return. And furthermore, the IRS is not able to apply credit to a tax year for which a tax return has already been filed and processed. So in other words, there is a mistake in a prior year tax return. We attempted to apply that overpayment to your tax return the following year, but since we had already received and processed it, we couldn't do that, and we're going to give you a refund. That's basically what the IRS is saying in this notice. So at the bottom of page 1 is you can complete this slip if you want to give the IRS your phone number and times to call. So if you've changed your address, you can call the IRS. You can visit the IRS website. That might lead you to the forms I mentioned earlier. And then if you include correspondence with your slip, make sure you check the box and then write your social security number, the tax year, and the tax form number on any correspondence that accompanies this slip. So on page 2, it'll show, hey, if you agree with the changes we made, you don't need to do anything. You should receive a refund check within 4 to 6 weeks, as long as you don't owe any other tax or debts that the IRS is required to collect. If you have not seen anything within that 4 to 6 weeks mark, you can follow up with the IRS about your refund check, or you can file IRS form 3911, which is the taxpayer inquiry for a refund check. We'll put a link to that in the show notes. And if you don't agree with the changes, then you should call the 800 number that the IRS puts at the top of the form. You can contact the IRS by mail. Complete the contact information section. You can attach it, send it with any correspondence. I've seen other notices that usually give a 60-day time frame to contact the IRS via correspondence. This notice does not appear to have any kind of time frame associated with that. So, keep that in mind. You may need to contact the IRS by phone, and then you can tell them if you're going to submit additional documentation or what have you. So right below that, you have changes to the tax return. Why was it changed? Because the amount that you claimed for state and local taxes is more than the amount that's allowed for your tax filing status. So the IRS did a decent job of recalculating your tax bill, and basically your adjusted gross income went down a little bit, and then your taxable income also went down a little bit, and as a result, the actual tax bill is about $700 less. So there was no tax withheld, but there were decent amount of payments and refundable credits. So the IRS basically, I don't even know how they got this total payments and credits number. I assume that there's other information that they didn't put here, but they basically said $15,077.60, and then the difference between that and your total tax is the amount of the expected refund. Right there, $55.84.19. So there is additional information at the bottom. Prior to shooting this video, I tried to click the link for this CP10, and it comes up as a page not found. So I'm not sure how common this tax form or this notice is. There's another similar one, CP10 Notice, so CP10. We'll put a link to that in the show notes in case you got a CP10 notice. So we put links in our show notes for a lot of articles if you choose to follow up. If you like our articles, please subscribe to our newsletter. And if you like our YouTube videos, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you have any questions or comments, or if there's a topic that you'd like to see discussed in an upcoming video, please hit me up in the comments section. Thank you very much and have a great day.